Hello and hi, my name is Connor. In this video, I am going to be doing my roundup of my 5 favorite new Japanese EPs from the month of June. This is a monthly series that I do every month where I talk about my roundup of 5 favorite EPs that release every month from Japan. Not redundant at all as an intro, is it? Now, in my opinion, I feel like the real highlight of June was actually the albums. While there were a lot of EPs that released as usual, I really feel like the albums stole my attention, stole the spotlight from all of the releases that came out, of which there were like upwards of, I think maybe I covered 40 in the end. As you can probably imagine, I was not able to actually talk about all of those here on my YouTube, so in case you would like to read what I have already said about lots of those releases, you can do so on my Substack, which I have been working on for a little under a year now. Basically, in my Substack articles, I talk about new EPs and albums and singles every week as they come out. So check it out there if that interests you at all, which maybe will if you're watching this video. But I think for now, let's just get right into it by talking about the first EP, which is going to be the new one from the band Bed, and this is titled Enso. There is so much I want to say about the band Bed, and that is because their sound is just kind of all over the place. I feel like they don't really have a genre to call home, yet they do for sure have a style and vibe, and that really is their objective too. One thing I always like to say is that Bed is my favorite rip-off Savages tribute band. And I mean that as a joke, obviously, but also they're really similar sounding. Jokes aside, this is the band's first official offering project of music. And I have to kind of clarify that because they released a live album about, I want to say 3 years ago now, which I thought was actually fantastic. And it's called a live album, but honest to God, I don't believe that because it sounds too good to be a live album. And by that I mean that the recording quality is like exquisite and does not sound live in the slightest. So it might be, I don't think so. That is my little, I suppose, conspiracy theory, but not like you can listen to it anyway because they took it off of streaming recently. So I mean, maybe you're watching this in the future and they put it back, but as for now, it is not there. So if you missed out, you missed out. And you missed out if you haven't heard it, sorry. While the band is technically a rock band, I wouldn't quite call them that because they have a real twist on the formula. I mean, like, sure, they are making punk music and I guess you could call it alternative rock and also goth music a little bit, but they also inject a lot more into it, which is kind of where that very specific curated vibe comes from. Because I feel like, in a way, they are kind of like inverse Gesaffelstein in that they are making rock music and introducing a lot of EDM to it and a lot of kind of industrial electronic sounds. I feel like this is something that you can probably understand as soon as you listen to the first few songs, though if you want some concrete examples, I would say that the songs Detroit and Bo and also the title track Enso are really showing off these industrial electronic elements. I would even maybe call Detroit a house song, and maybe even Pinku as well. While there were some of these elements on that live album, such as on the songs, I would say like Michael Mann, there was also a lot more shoegaze on there too, and that's not really showing up here. So while I did really love that sound from them on that live album, I am actually really liking this new direction that they are really focusing on because, like I said, they already had that sound on the live album. Here they are just honing in on that really dark, kind of club-like, energetic goth rock industrial music. That, of course, then results in their music having this really cool sense of escalation, like a lot of electronic songs do. By that I mean that the songs really develop over time and they change, and the patterns that you get used to within the first minute or two really evolve and just have a like beat drop moment in a lot of instances. This EP just absolutely showcases the versatility of the band too. They can really worm their way into any style and it just works. And I think that's because they have this very fluid mindset to what their music can sound like. And I think that's great for any set of artists. And it feels like they are very open to exploring all kinds of genres and sounds. Personally, I would love for them to kind of venture into maybe even something else entirely. But if they want to keep this sort of goth rock industrial sound, no problem with that whatsoever. This rocks. though I feel like I really enjoy the back half of this EP a little bit more than the front half. So I guess if I have any request I can make, it would be more house club industrial bangers like the back half, as opposed to the more so straightforward punk songs that are sort of having a little bit of electronics in them too. I just really like that back half. Out of all of the bands that I do want to see live in Japan, I would say Bed are at the top, because with how transient their music is, I don't know how long they'll stick together as a band. It could be another few days, it could be another few years, I don't know. And with them being a band for about 3-4 years now and still only having this one official EP, I don't want to take any chances. I want to see them as soon as I can. So they are nearing the top. Like I'd say like top 3 acts just off the top of my head. So yeah, and hopefully you'll feel that way too when you listen to this EP. I think you will. Next up, let's talk about the new EP from the band Salaba Teikoku, and this is titled Ocean Beat. Salaba Teikoku is a really interesting band in that I don't really want to describe how the music sounds to you like I normally would. I also don't want to really compare them to any other bands like I normally would. Instead, I want you to think of a person who dresses like this. If you know someone like this, or if you know someone who looks like this who listens to a certain type of music, this is the music that Salaba Teikoku makes. These are also the members of Salaba Teikoku. What the hell do I mean by that? Well, it seems to me like they have a very throwback, almost vintage sort of 50s, 60s, 70s Americana sort of vibe, though of course that is also introducing a lot of Japanese aesthetics too. I mean, a lot of Haruomi Hosono, though this is still more, I guess, alt-rocky than whatever you could call his music at any given time. And I say that because he has like shifted through so many phases and genres. You can't really tie him down to any like one particular one, you know? I think aside from that though, if you want some more concrete examples of similar sounding artists, I would for sure say Beach Boys. I mean, come on. I would also say like that Revolver era's The Beatles. That's kind of what I really get here. And I guess if you want some other Japanese examples, I would say the bands Teiichi, who I've covered here in the past in a video like this, and also the other band called U, who I have also covered here in another video. Actually, I think back in like January. Actually, no, technically February, because it came out in January, I think. So many of the songs here have a really homey sort of vibe. They are just lovely folk rock that is also like really upbeat, even if the lyrics are not always like that. Despite that though, there are still some hard rock songs on here, like the one titled Matsuri, though this is more of like an interlude sort of song. While yes, it is a full song, it is multiple minutes long, it is primarily all acoustic, instrumental. So because of that, there is not a lot to really delve into here specifically because there are no lyrics or themes to really go off of. It's just more of a showcase of the band's sound, which I have really liked. They have actually been playing a lot with a lot of artists that I like, and unfortunately I am not in Japan, so I can't see them. But I would have to imagine that they are able to really integrate themselves well with similar sounding artists. Now on the flip side, there are some calmer songs because like I said, this is a folk rock album. So, you know, there are some like folk rock, I suppose, ditties, if you will, like on the song Love Punk. And despite the name, it's lovely. It just feels like you are relaxing on your porch, looking out at your wheat field or something. But then about halfway through, the song ramps up and it is closer to punk, though I would still kind of call it power pop. So I guess maybe it's called that because like the first half, love, the second half, punk. Maybe that's on purpose, I don't know. Now, I gotta say, I don't know what's going on with this band because they don't have an album yet. Maybe they don't want to make one, but they have surely released enough material to fill up a whole album. So I really hope they do because I feel like they've really just been coasting on like the EPs and the single front for a while now. And I really want to see them tackle a whole project. I think they have a great sound and I love the songwriting too. And I think that when they do finally release that, it might stand amongst giants. I don't know, I would have to listen to it first. But I mean, ultimately, I just really enjoy everything that they have made so far, and I, see that continuing in the future too. So check this out if any of that sounds interesting to you. I don't quite often cover folk rock music or power pop, so I think if you are interested in those genres, this is definitely one to check out, and I am throwing you a bone here metaphorically, I suppose. Two genres that I do talk a lot about though are shoegaze and also post-rock, and that's kind of what this next band is too. So I want to talk about the new EP, which is titled Kudaru, and this is by the band Hiragi no. Now, this has a very heavy, melancholic sort of shoegaze vibe. It's not quite happy, yet I think a lot of it is about searching for something that you don't have or like desperately want. At least that's what a lot of the lyrics kind of give me. Hiragi no is a 5-piece band, and you know what that means, right? 3 guitarists. And I have said many times in the past, I think a 3-guitarist setup is the best. When a band has that, they are just able to make such cool sounding, just really complex music. And that is certainly what's happening here on this EP. I love this sound. This is actually their very first EP, and I am just so into it. Like I said, the name of the game here is post-rock and shoegaze, though there is quite a bit of Midwest emo, though I wouldn't say that is like an overall sort of genre. This sound can be primarily heard on the final song, which is titled Wakare, and I am just so into it. And man, all of those guitars just make my shoulders move, man. It's so good. I love those melodies and the riffs on that song in particular. I think it's great. But what else I think is great too is the singer's voice. She sounds so much like Chiaki Sato from Kinoko Teikoku, and it is actually to the point where in some instances, they sound like one for one. And so naturally, as a fan of Kinoko Teikoku, and especially Chiaki Sato, this is filling a void that I need filled because I miss them. I miss them so much. This EP is probably the one that I have gone back to the most in the past month because it is just so much of what I like to listen to just in my own personal time, because this is like such that specific shade of Japanese indie rock that I think is so popular nowadays, and also is so popular that I talk about it like constantly on my channel here. So I think if you are a fan of like those really indie J-rock bands like I have recommended in the past, maybe such as like Yurairu wa yuraide, maybe also such like Leon Hoteishiki, all of those bands are really having a similar sound to Hiragi no here, and I really desperately recommend this one if that is a sound you like. The band also likes to spice up some of their songs here and there, and I don't want to quite spoil it, but they are very obvious when you encounter them. One that I want to cue you into is going to be the one titled Wall. You'll know it when you hear it. That's all I'm gonna say. But they are doing something very abstract with the recording process of the songs, if you will, and I really appreciate that. I thought that was cool, and at first I thought my phone was glitching when I heard it, but no. But there is just so much to look forward to when you listen to this that it's hard for me not to get you energized about it, because I certainly am, obviously. With this EP being the band's first output, it's probably not fair for me to put very high expectations on them, but with this being such an amazing start to their career, it's hard for me to not be excited and want to like preach their amazing greatness in general to whoever I can. I am just truly looking forward to whatever they come out with next, and I really expect to hear amazing things from them in the future. I just don't know when I'll hear from them next, but God, I hope it's soon. At least like one more release this year, maybe. Like one more single would make me so happy. Thank you for listening. Thank you. One other EP that I've been really enjoying over the past few weeks is titled Sentiment, and this is by the band Lamb's End. Now, the first song is Screamo. The rest of the songs are not really Screamo. The rest of the songs are very much math rock and also punk, and I can't stop listening to this, frankly. This is just banging rock music with that real math rock, Midwest emo sort of twist on it, and man, these have some great, sick riffing all across it. There are 2 guitarists, and they are, it seems like, always in competition with each other to really just outdo the other. And that sort of competition that I don't think is real, I'm probably just imagining it, is just such great music, because you are like hearing 2 really skilled musicians styling off each other, and it's almost like they're trying to impress each other too, and that just results in a great end product. This is probably one of the longer EPs that I've reviewed in a while. This is 22 minutes with 6 songs, so I feel like this is truly a mini album, and I am so thankful for it, because I am just really vibing with every song here. And I do really think that that is mainly due to the band's approach to math rock and Midwest emo, especially with that second song, which is titled Usotsuki. This is a song that was originally released as a single, and man, am I kicking myself for not coming across this sooner, because if I had, I would have been hyping this thing up like crazy, and I think this EP still would have met those high expectations, because this song is just killer. I love it. And I'm not gonna lie, I do feel that way about really every single song on here. This is just rockin' music, and I know it's rock music, but like, it's rockin'. There are so many cool ideas. Like, for example, I love the mixing on the song, which is titled Kawaru Te Yuku. Just listen to it. It's sick. On top of that too, I think they have this really great sense of consistency as well. And by that I mean that all of the songs sound similar within the same project and mindset. And I feel like some bands can, sometimes get a little lost in the sauce by trying to make too many kinds of variations of their songs on a project. But honest to God, the band here is just so dedicated sounded, and you can really hear that too just throughout all of it. What I'm really trying to say here is that all of these songs just have a certain greatness that I think is very palpable. And I think if you do like math rock, this is my real recommendation for the month, because this is just hard-hitting math rock the exact way you want to hear it. And I don't know what more you could ask for. I would ask that you don't, because this is like the be-all end-all of the genre. So check this out if that sounds interesting to you. We are now at the final EP, and this is going to be the new one from Yuraide Nagi, which is titled Lumen. This EP is all chugging pop-punk alt-rock that is a little bit poppy too. And actually there is a little bit of math rock too, which I'll talk about a little bit later here. I think the first thing that I want to remark on is the singer's voice, because there is just some way in which she sings where I feel like she is absolutely weaving through each line. Like, she is able to navigate each line and I guess I would say pitch up and pitch down perfectly. It truly is like a visual experience for me, and I don't get that a lot. So I really have to give hats off to the lead singer of this band, whose name I couldn't quite find, but please, oh my god, I need a member list because I want to talk about everyone here, but I don't know their names. I think I would say that probably the most obvious example of this is going to be on the song titled Arium, though I do feel like the singer's voice is just, exceptional on really every song here, though I just especially noticed it on Arium. And maybe this is weird to mention, but I do want to mention it anyway. Shout out to the engineer who worked with the singer here, because it seems like they worked very closely, because her voice is always, constantly, 100% of the time, crisp and clear. I could easily hear her and understand her in Japanese all the time. I don't think there was any instance where I couldn't make out what she was saying. And I was surprised by that genuinely. I don't think my Japanese is that good, but I think the way that she writes is just very easy for a Japanese simpleton, I suppose, like me to understand. I passed the JLPT N3, and I didn't really have to look anything up when I was reading the lyrics. I was like, I know that, I know that, I know that, I know that. So I guess as a weird recommendation, if you are studying for the JLPT N3 test, or if you are at about that level, you're gonna like this as a great source of learning and practice. I mean, frankly, that's what I thought. So yeah, I mean, there you go. There's my recommendation. You're welcome. And also thank you to the lead singer too, I suppose. Now, going back to the topic at hand, I mentioned earlier that this is somewhat math rocky. Not really, though I would say that there is one song that kind of has the qualities of it, and that would be the final song titled Seabed. This, to me, actually really reminds me of the second album from Trico, and I think that's because of the subject matter, but I really feel like they have created the guitar riffs in the same way that Trico did on that album, where it just sounds so watery, like you are listening to wave ripples in a pond or lake or something. That is really only on that one song. The rest is more of that kind of post-rock, alt-rock, somewhat happy-go-lucky. I feel like the songs have a real coming-of-age sound to them, where they have this sort of summery, happy ending of a movie sort of vibe and feel, and they're also kind of written that way too. One thing I noticed when listening to this is that the singer talks a lot about seeing things, seeing a future, seeing a dream, seeing you, the one I love. There's a lot of seeing, and I feel like that sort of imagery is just so indicative of that kind of happy, I'm in love, I want to see you and me in love in the future. It's all kind of connected in that way thematically, I feel like. One other thing I want to mention is that I actually liked this EP so much, I went back to listen to their singles from years and years ago, and they've always been great, though I feel like just a little bit under the radar, which is unfortunate. But I will say that I am happy that they are really breaking out with this EP, at least from what I can tell in my sphere of the online Japanese music kind of discourse community, I suppose. With this EP though, I do feel like they are really starting to hit that mainstream rock pop sort of sound just a little bit. And for that reason too, I feel like they are sort of on the verge of blowing up in that way, in that sort of sound and environment, where I feel like I could very easily see them inserted into the like movie soundtrack or potentially the like anime ending song because of just how their music sounds. I feel like it is just so wistful and melancholic, yet still hopeful. And that is a sound and also writing style that I think really lends itself to those like two specific usages of music, in my opinion, of course. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's like the vibe I get from movies and also anime that I've seen. But of course, the only way that can happen is if they come out with more music after this. So I'm hoping for an album, I'm hoping for more EPs, but more than anything, I'm hoping to hear from them soon. And again, I do feel that way about every band here. And I do feel that way about every band pretty much in existence for the most part. And so now we are done. Those are all 5 bands and 5 EPs that I wanted to talk about from the month of June. It was great. Obviously, really cool selection of artists and songs, and I am excited for July because there are some heaters on the board already. Now, I will say, I do hope you get a chance to listen to all of these, but at the very least, please try to listen to at least one. I think with this month's selection, there is a lot to choose from stylistically, so there should be something that suits your tastes, at least I hope, or if not, you know, you can try something new. I really recommend it. That's kind of what I do on a weekly basis these days. So speaking of that again too, if you want to check out my Substack where I talk about a lot more Japanese music in maybe a more digestible format because it's not so much to like sit through, I will have a link to it in the description. And if you want to check me out anywhere else too, like on Twitter, you can do so as well. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate your support, and as always, they are going to be mentioned in the credits of this video, and if you would like to have that for yourself too, there is a link to my Patreon below if you would like to subscribe for $1 a month. That's right, $1. That's all I ask. So thank you so much for watching one final time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.